Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. How are you?
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm good. How about you?
Alhamdulillah, sister. Jazakallah khair for joining us today on
Alhamdulillah.
the Niqabi Diaries. Sister,
Thank
could
you
you,
so much for inviting me.
Alhamdulillah, sister, could you please introduce yourself for us and tell us a little bit about what you do, inshallah?
Okay, so I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have one daughter, and I do run a blog on Instagram, which is Fia.Speaks, and we also run a page with a group of Niqabi sisters, that is Niqabi Bloggers Community. And the main purpose is to just appreciate the other fellow Niqabi sisters who are trying to do that and facing difficulties. So yeah, we work like that.
MashaAllah, mashallah, that sounds amazing. So inshallah we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the interview, and definitely put a link to the description and in the description box for everybody that they can check that out, inshallah.
Sure,
So
sure.
sister, can you tell me how did you come to start wearing the niqab?
Okay, from the start, I am a born Muslim, but like here in our society, the families don't usually generate this thing, which is sad actually, but they think that covering is not necessary, so I wasn't brought up that way. So I just started it a few years back when I got married officially. I started after marriage. So like I wanted to do it before, but permanently I started it after when I got married, and I just do a lot more research for myself, and I started taking online lectures, and I started to learn about my religion better, and then I started wearing it for like permanent thing. So yeah, that's how it started.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So sorry, sister, could you share with us what is your cultural backgrounds, just for the viewers?
Yeah. I live in Pakistan,
Okay.
so which is I already said it's sad reality, but it is like people here don't think that covering your face is a necessity according to our religion,
Mhm.
which it is. But people think it's actually fine if you're covering your head, if you're wearing a dupatta on your head, and even if your hairs are not covered properly, even if you're not wearing this tight hijab or anything. So people think that it's okay, it's normal to not cover your face and being a Muslim. Like you are praying 5 times a day and you are following other rulings, but covering doesn't count as a necessity. So when I brought up, so I was like not at all, into this side of modesty or covering, and I've never actually learned my religion this way.
Mm.
So we were like, praying 5 times is must, and you have to be careful with your words or with your attitude. You have to be polite and everything else. We used to follow other rulings, but the covering doesn't count in like it's like normal. It's usually young girls should be taught to cover, but yeah, we don't usually
Mm.
do it like
SubhanAllah.
that. And even if someone is using it, the face wheel, so it was uh, if someone is covering their faces and they're using the full covering,
Yeah.
so it was like they were supposed to be extreme at
Mm.
extreme levels. They're
Mm.
doing the religion at extreme levels, which is not true. But people just don't realize the covering as a part of our religion, and which is actually very saddening.
SubhanAllah. So on that note, I mean, you mentioned that obviously people see it as being extreme.
Yes, yes.
How has it been wearing the niqab? Like, have you, like, within your own family, for example, have your family members giving you any kind of problems because you started wearing it? And what about your husband as well? Like you said, you started wearing it after marriage. Did he have any issues
Yes.
with you wearing it?
No, he wasn't. He's different. He lives in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
So when I went to Saudi Arabia myself, and the society, the effect of society, I observed like everyone is doing it, and this is what actually Islam teaches us to do, and this is a normal thing to do, and you can do everything, even being covered. So I just, I never thought it that way. Even before before my marriage, like my mom used to wear the abaya, but she used to do the hijab, but not the face veil. And me, as myself, I was the youngest sister, so like I was never, in a modest. I was never brought up in a modest way because I was the youngest one, and it was supposed that if I'm wearing something, so it's my choice, and I can do everything. Being, I was like a child of the house, so I was allowed to do anything I want to do.
Mm.
But when the society or the family has a huge effect of uh, on girls, especially they see their mom and they want to do something their mom does. So I had this, I wanted to wear a baya, but I never had guts to do so because my sister don't usually wear it. So I was like, it's not for me. Maybe it's for the older women, or not every girl has to wear it. But you have this the influence from your mom, so you want to do it, but you never actually did it. But when I got married, my husband was like, he knew that the teachings, and he told me that the woman must cover themselves, must women must cover their faces. And I was like, what? I never done it, and I was shy, but he never like forced me to do it. I was never oppressed by him.
Alhamdulillah.
So he just told me the hadiths and the Quranic verses, and used to teach me. And I then just started learning myself, and I went into it, and the things I never knew was included in our deen, and so I was more moved toward Islam after my marriage. But covering was still up, you know, it was like a milestone to cover because I was not actually, I would say that I wasn't ready. Like, you cannot do a sudden change in your
Yes, of
whole
course. Yes.
lifestyle.
Yes.
It was like a sudden change.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not doing it suddenly, even though I knew my husband wanted me to do it. But and if my family doesn't want me to do it, so I was like a little bit shy. So I
Mm-hmm.
started wearing a baya. I used to cover my hairs, but I didn't do the face veil until I myself went to Saudi Arabia. I lived there, and I observed the society, and I just realized that it's not that bad. I mean, you can be free, you can be independent, and you can do whatever you want, even if you can do you can do whatever you want with the covering as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a barrier. It's not something that stops you from being yourself. And I started feeling more confident, and that was the time I actually practiced it, but not like a permanent. I used to do it sometime, and sometime I don't want to do it, so I don't do it. And if it's a family event or anything, so I don't cover my face. When I go out for like public places, so I used to cover. But uh, I get the confidence from living there actually. So when I came back to my home,
Mhm.
came back to my country, so it was a sudden change for people. Like it was a shock. Like, how can you be so changed? Are you oppressed?
Mm.
So the impression of like I am being oppressed by my husband, that actually like made me a little sad. No, it's not the oppression. I chose it myself. I learned it myself, and I want to do it because I want to do it, not because he wants me to do it, but because this is Allah's command and it is the necessity. And I kept explaining people, and they were like, "No, why? If it's a necessity, you don't do it while you do Umrah, or it's not." It's not actually, Islam is not very extreme. You're being the extreme one, and you're going to extreme levels. It's not like that. So it was a bit difficult for me to explain it to my friends and my family that I want to do it because I want to do it, not because of my husband.
Yeah, subhanallah. This is what happens a lot of the time with sisters. I think even like, for example, even like converts, when women become Muslim and then they get married straight away, or sometimes they married a Muslim and then later on they decide they want to become Muslim, they get the same kind of
Yes,
thing as well. Like it's like you could almost like you don't have a brain for yourself. People just assume that you're doing everything because your husband wants you to do it, you know, and that's
yeah,
not, you know,
yes.
not necessarily the case.
But I feel like that no one can force you into this thing. No one can force you, because if you are if someone is forced to wear niqab, she would do it in front of her husband only, and she would not do in the absence of her husband because she's not ready from the inside.
Of
She's
course.
not doing it by herself. So I don't think if anyone can be forced to do it. I don't think it. No one can force you. If you want to do it, you will do it properly. If you don't want to do it, maybe you're doing it in front of someone to show them that hey, I'm doing it, and then when you have the chance, you take it off. So it's not about the it's not something that can be forced.
Yeah, of course. Subhanallah. So how do you find traveling then? You said that obviously you're living in Saudi now, but you travel back home to Pakistan every now and then. How do you find traveling wearing the niqab? How's your experience been?
Yes, I've been to Muslim countries, but I've never been to Europe or anywhere that this niqab feels out of the place. So I never find it difficult traveling. Even when I started wearing it, I feel more confident. I feel more like myself. I feel like people looks at me in a different way. I feel it's like protecting me, and it is being a protection. But I never feel bad with the you know I never feel it difficult doing in front of strangers because they know myself as a Muslim woman. But what is what was the main thing that made me feel difficult was in front of the people who already know me, because I was a completely different person before doing niqab, and I changed a lot because I learned a lot about my deen. I learned better how to be a better Muslim. So it was difficult in front of the people who already knew me, but I never feel it difficult in front of strangers. Even I feel more confident, and I feel like more like myself, and I I don't think the traveling was difficult with niqab. No, I never faced any difficulty.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So,
Alhamdulillah.
sister, do you feel that you've been treated differently, or do you feel that even sisters, for example, who wear the niqab get treated differently from sisters who just wear the hijab, for example? So how's your experience been
Yes.
in Saudi Arabia and in Pakistan? Like, how would you compare those two with the Muslim community?
Um, as I described, like as I told you, that it was not difficult in Saudi Arabia. That was the place that I adopted it more, and that was the place that I got more confident about being a niqabi. But in our country, this is actually there is a perception that if a woman is doing niqab, she's maybe something there is something lesser in her personality, or she's less than a woman who's not doing niqab.
Mhm.
So in our country, in Pakistan, it's actually women actually face uh, really bad expressions. Even Muslim women give you these looks. They look down upon you. I don't feel really comfortable in front of the women who are like looking at you like, why do you need to do this? And they have this look in their eye. They're looking at you like you're you're in one way or another, like you're oppressed. You get these looks that you must not be doing it by yourself, like you must have been forced into it, or there's some problem with you. So yes, there is a lot of difference between a hijabi and a niqabi. They treat you in a different way, which is sad, but yeah, it's a reality.
So do you feel would you say that when you're back home now, has that caused kind of like does it make you feel uncomfortable when you see a hijabi, for example, or do you still treat them the same way you would if they was wearing the niqab like you, or if you wasn't wearing the niqab? Do you think it's affected your behavior or your kind of interaction with them?
Yes, of course, you are being treated differently, and I feel like they somehow, if not the non-Muslim women, but the Muslim ones,
Mhm.
they're Muslim. They know that this is something they have to do, but they kind of justify their way of dressing to making you a lesser, you know. You cannot judge, obviously you cannot judge. They may be praying better, they may be a better Muslim than us, but if they don't practice niqab, it's not necessary that they don't have to justify they not being niqab by telling you are doing it wrong,
Yeah.
you are doing religion wrong. Like, you know I get the looks, and that there's something in it. There's some problem. How can you explain it? Like, they kind of uh, justify themselves not wearing it
Hmm.
by telling
Exactly.
you doing it wrong.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, subhanallah, yeah.
So you get my point,
Yes,
right?
yes, definitely. I get your point. Yeah, I understand what you're saying because I feel like I've experienced similar things here, and alhamdulillah,
Yes.
not so much. But I think when I first started wearing the niqab, um, there was this kind of perception that niqabi sisters think that they're better than sisters who don't wear the niqab. So when they see you, it's almost like you said, they try to kind of justify that they don't wear it by
Yes.
talking about the religious acts that they do, or saying that they are committed Muslims. But it's just like you said, like what we do as Muslims is between us and Allah. Our relationship with Allah is personal. So even though we might be doing more outward action of wearing the full face veil covering our face, it doesn't mean that we're automatically better than a sister who doesn't. And those sisters who
Yes.
don't, they shouldn't have to feel like when they see us that, oh, they need to kind of give some justification for not wearing it. So I think this is kind of
Yeah.
and unfortunately I've seen with some sisters it kind of can cause a rift sometimes, because it's like you want to they people try to compete with each other, like, oh, you don't need to wear that, because they're not wearing it, so they will tell you that you don't need to wear it you know but it's just like, well, if you take the opinion that it's not obligatory, that's fine. And even some sisters who wear the niqab, they also take the opinion that it's not obligatory, but they'd rather wear it as a sunnah and get that extra reward for wearing it. So why should you criticize them for wearing it when you've chosen not to wear it? Because everybody has different
Of
ways in which
course.
they try to improve themselves as Muslims and try to, excel in the, what is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all have different ways that we might find easier. So if somebody
Yes.
finds it easy to wear the face veil, if they have that desire in them to cover their face to do that and get the reward from Allah, maybe somebody else, for example, finds it easy to wake up at night and pray the night prayer, or to do the extra sunnah
Yes,
prayers throughout the day, for example, and others might struggle with that. So there's different things that we can all try and do to help us to increase in our good deeds. So we shouldn't have to
yes,
kind of justify, because, for example, like if somebody, for example, wants to sunnah fast like Mondays and Thursdays, or they, it's coming up to Dhul Hijjah now, okay? So, for example,
yes,
somebody decides that they're gonna fast the first 9 days of Dhul Hijjah, and somebody else
yes,
doesn't fast. You're not gonna say that person doesn't need to justify the fact that they're not fasting, you know. So
yes, sure.
we don't usually do that with other acts of worship. So, with sisters, there
Yes,
shouldn't be this
exactly.
reason.
That's exactly my point.
Yes,
Yes, you
yes,
explained it well, mashallah. Yes, exactly. This is what actually happens. This is what the difficulty. This is what uh, it's just the perception. It's
yes,
just in our own minds.
yes, subhanallah. So, have you met anybody so far that would like to wear the niqab, but for some reason that maybe their family members have stopped them from wearing it, or they're being told that they shouldn't wear it? Have you met anybody like that?
Yes, a lot of sisters. When I started this Instagram blog, the main idea was that because I had to justify with the I had to justify my decision in front of people. I thought that I should, do a public appearance. I should start a social media platform so I can write my own point. Like I can tell people that it's not about oppression or something. So when I started this blog, when I started Fia.Speaks, so I met a lot of sisters who actually wanted to practice it, but they cannot because it's not allowed from their family members, and sometimes their husbands don't allow them to wear it, and so they are just they cannot do it if their husbands is not allowing it.
Yeah,
So I talked to a lot of sisters and I told them that if you want to do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to do it. And it's actually, I feel that it's actually a examination for so many sisters. Like I never faced this much difficulty when I heard women's stories and I hear that they are so much, you know I feel so blessed, alhamdulillah, that my husband allowed me to do it, and he actually wanted me to do it in the first place. So when I listen to sisters' stories and I listen to such kind of people who don't allow their wives and their daughters to do it, I don't understand what kind of Muslim are you. If you're a Muslim, you should know that this is their choice if they want to wear it for their creator. They're not doing it for you. If you don't like it, you can see them at home without it, but why are you not allowing them to wear it in public? I just don't understand that fact. But it's a sad reality again
yes,
that a lot of people, a lot of families here, there are so-called, liberal Muslim who don't actually, feel it a necessity to cover. And if a woman is covering, they feel lesser, they feel it bad, and they look at them like, you cannot do it. We don't do it in our family, and this is actually a very bad situation for the one who is trying to do it. So yes, I have talked to a lot of women who wants to practice it but cannot due to the society and their family. May
SubhanAllah.
Allah help them all.
Ameen, ameen. So, sister, have you, since wearing the niqab, have you done any kind of work, like outside work or business or anything like that? What's your career path at the moment? You mentioned that you're a mother and everything. So, have you done any kind of job wearing the niqab? Have you had that an experience?
No, I haven't done anything like that, but I used to go to like I have only took online classes in everything. No, I haven't done anything like in business, but yes, I was going to driving classes, and I never felt any difficulty wearing niqab. Although I feel more confident and more protected, and I enjoyed wearing it.
Alhamdulillah. So, sister, could you tell us more about your blog that you started, why you started it, and how was it run? How's the setup? Yeah, and also about the Niqabi Bloggers platform as well. So, can you give us some more details about that, inshallah?
Yes, so the first when I started, the idea behind it was to, you know, I wanted to be the voice for the women who are trying to wear niqab and do it, and I wanted to normalize it in our society, and I wanted to show that it's okay to cover yourself and do everything you want to do. But then I met a lot of sisters who are doing it. Mashallah, I after I joined the Instagram, I got to know a lot of other sisters who are now friends with me, and even more than friends. So I met a lot of Niqabi sisters, mashallah, who are doing a really good job in appreciating and in promoting this idea. So a group of sisters with me, we made this platform, Niqabi Bloggers Community, for specifically Niqabi bloggers to join in and to make, a big social appearance, and to encourage other girls who want to wear it, and
Mhm.
encourage other Niqabi bloggers and to support them, that they're doing a very good job. So yeah, it was like it is a supportive platform. Initially it was the real idea behind us was to support other Niqabi sisters.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah,
Alhamdulillah.
that's great. MashaAllah. So, sister, on that note, what would you advise to a sister who is thinking of wearing the niqab, but she doesn't feel confident, or she has this kind of inhibitions in how she feels like maybe she shouldn't do it? What would you advise her?
If you ask me for one advice, it would be like it is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and no one can, you know, change the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one can force you to not follow your creator. If you want to do it, just do it. And I think that a family has a really huge impact on, you know,
Hmm.
growing up girls. So I myself never, had this environment of face reveal, and I felt it difficult adopting it. But if you being mom, or you being an elder sister, if you start practicing it, you will open ways to other girls and other young your children's and daughters to, you, only we can normalize it. Only we if we just do it practically, we can show them that this is not something out of this world. This is not something that is very difficult. So I think everyone who is willing to do it but cannot do it should do it, so the coming generation, for it will be easier for them, I
Inshallah,
suppose.
inshallah.
Yes, like I started doing it when I got pregnant, and I strongly believe, because if I'm going to have a daughter, so she would look up at me,
Hmm.
and she would try to copy me. So I want to do it for her, so it wouldn't be difficult for her to do it. And mashallah, it has a huge impact on young children's who look up to their parents, they copy them, and
Yes.
it it is somehow in your family. You adopt what you see. So whatever you want to do, you have to do it to make an example for your coming generation.
Inshallah, yeah, that's correct. Subhanallah. So how long have you been wearing it, sister?
It's been like 5 years
Okay, alhamdulillah.
since I got married, and I started in the first year of my marriage. But initially I wasn't doing it for like everywhere,
Hmm.
because in our society, in family events, when marriages and engagements, it is a huge problem. If you're covering yourself, you're not following the dress code. It's
Yeah,
somehow you cannot do it. How can you cover your face? It's a wedding. It's your sister's wedding. It's your brother's wedding, and
subhanallah.
I was like, why can why can't it's normally that's me. That's what I wear. That's my appearance. This is how I look.
Yeah,
But
alhamdulillah.
people don't see it. You're not following the dress code if you're covering your face. How can you cover your face in a wedding ceremony? Like suppose.
Allah.
So the most difficult time I faced was my sister's wedding, when I wanted to cover my face but I couldn't, because no one is doing it, and I would feel out of place. But alhamdulillah, I tried and I did it. I mean, my parents had no my parents were not oppressive at all, because I told them that my husband wants me to do it and he has no problem with it. So they didn't have any problem. But still, the society, my cousin friends, and everyone in family, extended family, they would look up at me and they feel pity for me, like, oh my God, your husband is forcing you to do it. I was like, no, it's not about him. It's about myself. It's about my decision. This is my own decision. So
Mhm.
that was the time I felt it most difficult to explain it to people, that
Mhm.
you know this was a struggle. This was the only struggle that I faced.
Alhamdulillah. So, sister,
Alhamdulillah.
to close the interview, what I will ask you, what does the niqab mean to you?
Niqab is it's a part of my daily life now, and I don't feel ashamed anymore. I don't feel bad about it, and to me it's kind of you know it's my proud, it's my confident, it's I am more protected and I am more like myself. It is my identity now. So now it's just a very important part of my life. I cannot be without it.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khair, sister, for joining us on the Niqabi Diaries. I really appreciate you giving your time for us and sharing your, mashallah,
Jazakallah.
wonderful and very inspiring journey to the Niqab.
Jazakallah khair, and thank you so much for inviting me. I had a really good time talking to you. Thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah. No problem, sister. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Nice talking to you. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.